Okay, so the first of these three films that I'm going to talk about is my least favourite of the three. It was Brad Jones's first attempt at a comedy, and this is Game Boys, and I still think it's a very good film. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very well written, and for his first attempt at a comedy, it's actually quite good, but it's a bit, it's not all that funny, sadly, and yeah, comedies need to be funny, but it was funny for me. That's the thing. This film references a lot of the old 80s Atari games, and I've looked into those games quite a bit. I don't know them personally, but I know of them a fair bit. And so I got the jokes. I found it quite funny. When I showed this to someone at first, they had no idea what was going on. They didn't get any of the jokes or anything. I mean, the actual film starts off talking about E.T. for the Atari 2600. Not many people are going to know about E.T. Well, the film, yeah, but not for the Atari 2600. Now, the film is very well written, and it involves some really weird things. I mean, that's one of the things you'll be noticing a lot with the film, is that it's going to be a bit weird. Usually involving sex, with weirdness. Says a lot about Brad, really. But, it's about this game on the Atari 2600 called Custer's Revenge, which is rather nasty. If you haven't heard about it, yeah, I reckon you should look it up. It's not really that disgusting a game. I mean, how can you make something disgusting on the Atari? Yeah, but check it out. It's weird as hell, and I mean weird. It's not a nice game. But yeah, the whole premise of the film is to try and get 5,000 points on this game, and this is, yeah, exciting. But when you actually know of the game, that's quite a feat. But that's more of a MacGuffin in this film. The actual film is more about the interactions of the main character with everyone else. Now, I believe the main character was called Scott. He has just been dumped by his girlfriend who knows nothing about 80s games. And yeah, of course we have to look down on him for it. But yeah, he kind of has this crush on this girl who works in this game store selling mainly retro games, so NES, SNES, Atari, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he has a crush on her, and as soon as his girlfriend's dumped him, he's like, yeah, roll with it. So decides to hit on this girl by inviting her to the party to play Custer's Revenge. Like I said, if you know what this is, this sounds absolutely messed up. So yeah, they're playing Custer's Revenge. Well, hijinks ensue. Now, there's a theme that carries on throughout these films. Brad is probably the strongest actor of the lot, and I'm not saying that like a bad thing. I said it in a way it's a bad thing because that sounds like, well, everyone's poor and he's the best, therefore he must be the best, worst. But no, he's actually a pretty damn good actor, and so are a few other people who are in it. Sadly, his co-star overacts a hell of a lot. The acting is just poor on his part, and apparently the girl that works in the game store, Sally, has an accent. I don't know what this accent is, but I fear it might be English, British accent. She doesn't pull it off well. I know it's meant to be fake, but it's just painful. But yeah, the film's pretty good still, but drags on far too much. It goes on for about 2 hours, where it could have easily been a 90-minute film or just had more locations or more things that were interesting. Now, one thing I did like about the film that really spoke out to me was Rob. Now, people may not know this, but Rob was he was sort of an accessory with the NES, I believe. Yeah, it was the NES, and yeah, he didn't really work. Well, he did work, but not well enough. So, you know, he's just kind of basically a character, even though he's not really in it that much. But the things about Rob are generally quite funny. I wouldn't go into this film if you don't know anything about 80s, early 90s gaming, because you will be completely lost. But it was still a good film. It's just a little bit average. Well, actually, I'd say a little bit below average, to be honest. It wasn't that funny, and it was well written. I'll give it its dues there, and very well directed, especially considering that, well, by the looks of it, they were in quite a cramped space, but just didn't pull it off, sadly. But this is just the first of the three, and this is the worst of the three. The next one will be my second favourite, and from that you will know exactly what my favourite of the three films were. But the next two films are pretty grim, but they are pretty damn good at the same time. So I would check out the rest of the reviews, and if you're into 80s gaming, check out this film. Otherwise, I would give it a miss. It's quite a you have to know exactly what it's talking about, otherwise you won't get it. It's not like those comedies where you can just sort of laugh at everything that's going on, just even if you don't get it because there's some wacky hijinks that are going on. No, you kind of have to know the stuff before you go anywhere near this one. And with the touch of like Game Boys, that's kind of, it's not surprising, but I assumed it wouldn't be so stuck in the 80s. But knowing Brad Jones, yeah, it's exactly just stuck in the past. But yeah, anyway, check out the rest of the reviews. Next one, well, we'll see what we're going on to next.